So today we're gonna repair my iPhone 13 Pro that fell down the elevator shaft. Yeah, it fell down that little ass crack. Luckily the screen's still intact, we just have to do a housing replacement, so let's get straight into it. So I'm going to begin with turning off the phone. The screen was already popping out, so I did take the screen off already, and I also took the battery out to make sure it wasn't leaking. So putting the screen to the side, I can begin taking off the camera plate and taking out the camera. If you guys know anything about iPhone repairs, they're really tedious. There's a bunch of screws within the phone that are different, so you have to continuously switch between screwdriver bits. Over here, I just have a bunch of screwdrivers and I'm just doing it that way. But yeah, I always say that iPhone repairs are like expensive Legos, because like if you mess up, you're spending a lot of money. But for the most part, it's just plugging things in and out and just switching them around. Right here, I'm just unplugging everything from the logic board. I'm trying to keep everything organized while I'm doing this repair, so if I'm taking out screws or parts, I'm trying to keep the screws that are taking that part out close together, just so it makes the reassembly easier at the end. Here I'm working on taking out the charging port. There's a lot of screws there, so it does take some time. So right here, I'm taking out the speaker. Once the screws are off, you can just pry it out with a nail. There's not too much adhesive on it, so you don't need to heat it up. So after unscrewing and unclipping the Taptic engine, I can take it out, and then unscrewing the small plate, I can just remove that. It does have some adhesive on it that's attached to the mic, but yeah, putting that to the side. More screws to unscrew. There's, I think, a total of 13 to 15 screws just by the charging port alone. Sometimes it's easy to forget about the screws that are vertical, keeping the charging port in place. Definitely don't forget about those, and the ones on the side of the phone as well. So before we can take out the charging port, we do have to take out the logic board and the SIM reader. I'm popping out the SIM tray here to let out the SIM reader. And while I was doing this repair, my friend came to me with her iPhone 11 that she's broken for, I want to say, the third time now. So hopefully this time she can not break her phone. That'd be great. But yeah, over here I'm taking out the logic board, have that on the side. So here I'm just removing the remaining components, the LiDAR sensor, the earpiece, and the Face ID module on the top of the phone. So now that I've taken out the Face ID and the earpiece, I can start working on taking out the charging port from the housing. So once all the screws are out, I'm able to pry out the charging port without using any heat. If you are having some trouble, you can get a heat gun or a hair dryer to heat it up a little bit. If you're really struggling, there might be a screw that you missed, so make sure you double check that before you tear anything. So while I was doing the repair, my friend FaceTimed her little sister at prom, and this is just a little clip of us fangirling over her dress.
How cute are these? They're so cute. Oh my god! So cute!
I found that really funny, so I had to add it into the video. But anyway, back to the repair. So I did get a gold housing instead of the blue one, since the blue one was out of stock, but the gold one's just as pretty, so I'm happy with it. So to begin the reassembly, I'm starting with the charging port. The logic board has to lay on top of it, so you have to make sure that it goes first. So now I'm just putting in the plates that are covering the mic, and I'm also putting in the Taptic engine, and then following that I'll be putting in the speaker. So now that we've gotten everything installed in the charging port area, I'm putting the camera back in with the camera plate on top. After securing the main camera module, I'm putting the Face ID and the front camera back in with the earpiece speaker. So with the earpiece and the Face ID put back in, I'm just putting back the logic board into the phone and connecting all the connectors back to it. So now that everything's back in its place, I'm putting back the battery that was in my old phone. It was a little bit bent. I tried to bend it back into place as straight as it could be. And now we're just putting the SIM card tray back into the phone. And I'm just gonna connect the screen now and test if it works. So I tested the phone off screen to make sure it booted up, and now I'm just clipping it back together. To make sure that the phone was still water resistant, I installed a waterproof seal off camera. So there's that, and now we're just booting up the phone. So here are the final results. The phone looks brand new. I was super lucky to have the screen not crack. Even the screen protector was perfectly intact. This is just a side-by-side comparison to show the damage that it went from to the brand new looking phone that it is now. Thanks for watching.